Hi, my name is Father Craig Hightower, and I'm the pastor of St. Francis Xavier here in Missoula, Montana.
Hi, I'm Father Victor Cancino. I'm the pastoral delegate at St. Ignatius Mission, which also is attached to Jocko St. John Berkman's and Our Lee Sacred Heart.
We're both the vocation promoters for this area, and so we wanted to take a few moments to talk to you a little bit about Jesuit vocations and vocation to the priesthood.
So vocations to the priesthood or vocations to specifically to the Jesuits. I thought about this and I was thinking of 4 different qualities that I would look for in a guy today.
Okay.
And just some of the things that come to mind are: 1, does the guy have a sense of humor? Is the guy, has he fallen in love with the world, or has he been in relationships? Does he know how to love? 3, is he curious? I can say more about that later. Curious or creative. And 4, does he have a prayer life? Or does he want to cultivate a prayer life? So those are the 4. I don't know if you had a different set of qualities or what you look for.
No, I would say I think those sound really good. They're good qualities to have. I think also the lens in which we look. I think a lot of young men look at the Society of Jesus and look at the priesthood, and they feel they're not called because they're not pious enough, or they're not this or not that. So I think starting out with the ability to have a sense of humor. I mean, we can look at both of us and know that the society has a sense of humor in accepting us. But also that idea of being able to love. I mean, that's one of the biggest things we do, is to love. Love our congregations, love our students, love the work we do, regardless of what that work is.
Yeah, we can maybe go through those 4 different qualities or pillars that I'm looking for in a guy. For example, the first one, that the guy needs a sense of humor. I think the state of the world and politics and the church is insane at the moment. It's all over the place. And if a guy comes in uptight and he takes himself too seriously about everything and about himself, he's gonna fall out of his vocation or just be really upset and miserable within a few months, or definitely within a few years. You have to, I think, laugh at yourself and not take yourself too seriously in the midst of so much chaos.
Absolutely. The whole sense of accepting our faith with joy means that we have to be joyful and humorous. I mean, that's part of the realities we have, especially for a community like the Jesuits, where we live in community together, and we're going to bump elbows together. And so you have to have an ability to have a lot of laughter in the house and a lot of laughter in the community, rather than say a lot of tears.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So you have to have a sense of humor. If you don't, then look for a different job or vocation. The second quality or pillar would be, can the man fall in love, like be passionate with either a community or with his family? Does he love himself? Is he human, right? It's a human quality.
It's a human quality, and my novice master, Pat Lee, used to say that Jesuits are going to fall in and out of love all the time. And so that's an important quality for how we live our lives. We live our lives in that tension between loving and falling out of love at times. That allows us to do things.
I live on the Flathead Indian Reservation, and with the natives and the non-natives, these smaller communities out there, it seems like the implicit question that they ask is, does the priest or the pastor there, does he like us, and how long is he going to stay? Right, and that's why I go back to saying you have to love the people you're working with.
Absolutely. The relationship part of our ministry is incredibly important, and you have to be able to form those relationships, and they take time. You come in and out of people's lives all the time, but you also are in their lives at very intimate moments of their lives, births, funerals, weddings, and so it's important to be able to interact with them in a positive way, in a loving way.
Good. All right, so we got sense of humor, we got falling in love. The third one is the man curious? When I think about a guy today, things are, in society, there's a huge question mark of where we're moving as a nation, as a church, as a world. And I think guys can't be passive. They have to be curious about the world and be creative to stir things up, try things new, open the doors, evangelize. And a passive person who is just maybe has his doors closed is not going to contribute to what the church needs today. So I think the guy needs to be curious and creative for what we need today in the church.
Absolutely. I think the way we approach things under the magis, or ad majorem Dei gloriam, for the greater glory of God, means that we also have to respond to the gift and grace of the Holy Spirit. And that gift and grace of the Holy Spirit is not stale or trite, but it's very dynamic. And so you're constantly moving forward in curiosity to see how can we include more people in the faith, how can we include more people into a relationship with Christ. And so you have to be able to explore and be curious in the way you approach people.
Nice.
And ideas, I think.
Of course. And finally, does the guy have a prayer life? And a vocation's a tricky thing. A vocation begins with God, it's sustained by God, it ends with God, but it doesn't just fall out of the sky. I think you have to nurture it. And so does the guy, you don't have to have 100% certainty, like you were saying in the beginning,
right.
But if he has a prayer life and he's curious about what God might want of him, and he has a nudge of working in the church or becoming a priest or a brother or a Jesuit, it only comes through in prayer. And so without that, everything else sort of falls apart.
And I think for people exploring vocations, part of that prayer, a big part of that prayer, is knowing that God loved us first and calls to us, but also knowing that there's a way of answering the what if. If the what if is in your mind and saying, well, what if I did this, what if I did that? We would say, don't waste energy on the what if. Explore a possibility with the Jesuits, contact a vocation promoter, get involved, and try to answer that what if in prayer in a positive way.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. The what if. Don't get caught in that. I would say just move forward in the nudge that you're feeling if you think you have a vocation, or talk to someone. Those are 4 basic pillars. You can add other aspects, other qualities, but those are the 4 I'd look for today in a young man. If he wants to live in Montana with the Jesuits up here, he'd also have to enjoy a cigar from time to time.
Yeah, we do have a smoking porch. Cigars are allowed.
Cigars are allowed. Anything else?
I would say if you're curious, get a hold of Father Victor or myself. You can contact us at St. Francis Xavier Parish or at St. Ignatius Parish. And you also can go online at beajesuit.org to get more information.
beajesuit.org.
Blessings.
Blessings.